As a potential disastrous war with Iran looms around the corner, it appears that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has been frozen out of this very important conversation. Yeah, I mean, you would think the Secretary of Defense should be at least involved in these discussions. But apparently, according to an unnamed U.S. official speaking to the Washington Post, the president, instead of turning to the Secretary of Defense, is instead turning to others. Now, to be fair, it's a couple of four-star generals for guidance on whether or not to join in Israel's attack on Iran. The official said, quote, "Nobody is talking to Hegseth. There is no interface operationally between Hegseth and the White House at all." At all. Now, look, that seems like it could be a problem, although maybe it also avoids another problem. Maybe they're afraid that Hegseth is going to leak on Signal what's going on, what they're going to do, any potential war plans with against Iran going to get leaked. So, I mean, you got all these reporters that are probably lining up like, oh, are we going to get invited to Hegseth's Signal chat? Not going to happen this time. Oh, no. So I guess they avoided that one. Nonetheless, you got this guy who's supposed to be in charge of our military. Where is he? I don't know, passed out somewhere, getting plastered with Jeanine Pirro, which could be a Fox News show, or at least maybe a Fox News segment. I don't know. Nobody does. This Fox News alum, both of them, by the way, they're not even being included in the so-called Tier 1 group advising Trump on a potential attack on Iran, according to the report. Which makes me wonder, what tier does Hegseth belong in, actually? I don't know. Again, normally this is something you would want to include the defense secretary in. But no, apparently not. Especially since it is looking more and more likely that Donald Trump is going to start a war with Iran because he is convinced that they're just months away from a nuclear bomb. Now, what's funny about that claim is this is what Netanyahu has been saying, and others, for the last 30 freaking years. I am 41 years old. I know I look great for my age. Okay, I got a baby face. But my point is, though, for the majority of my life, these assholes, warmongers, bloodthirsty fascists have been saying, Iran, it's months away from a bomb, mushroom clouds, we gotta attack them. We gotta attack them now, preemptive war. And it's just not true. It's just not true. It's about as true as Donald Trump's healthcare plan, which is, guys, it's only about 2 weeks away. You just got to wait 2 weeks, okay? We got concepts of a plan. No, it's on this, though. It's not concepts of a plan. It's concepts of regime change. That's what it is. A regime change war. Look, regime change wars rarely ever work out the way that they're expected to work out. Again, look at Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay? And if you thought those were bad, and they were, get ready for the next forever war disaster in Iran. This is the kind of stuff that kills empires. And I don't know, maybe the American empire deserves to die as a result. Now, of course, this time, though, it's not going to be W. That does it. No, it's going to be someone even dumber than George W. Bush. This very stupid man is now relying on the advice of bloodthirsty warmongers, all right? As well as, ironically, other people on Fox News. He's already hired 2 Fox News hosts to be part of his administration, and now he's looking at, Fox News. Oh man, I'm watching Fox News, and you got these people that are cheering on war with Iran, and there it is. Okay, and so that's where he's getting his advice. Now, when asked if the U.S. was getting closer to striking Iran's nuclear facilities, which would be a declaration of war, at the White House on Wednesday, Trump replied, "I may do it. I may not do it. wait, whoa. This is a very serious issue. This is not time to be coy, all right? But as I mentioned, though, at least, yes, he is getting advice from his generals. However, the general that he's getting advice from is Erik Kurilla. As I mentioned yesterday, he is nicknamed the Gorilla. This guy's been saying dumb things like, oh, you know, if we go to war with Iran, it's really not going to be all that costly for us. That right there, that statement is right up there with, don't worry, guys, they're going to greet us as liberators. It's one of the top dumbest things people have said about going to war. Mark my words, if we invade Iran, you're going to be hearing that quote a lot in the context of how incredibly stupid and wrong it was. Now, also advising Donald Trump is General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the nation's highest-ranking military officer. Both generals are said to be providing Trump their input on Iran, while Hegseth and his team remain largely out of the loop. Well, once again, look, what would Hegseth even add to the conversation? And that's a good question. Fair question, of course. He is deeply unqualified for that job. Deeply unqualified. The only reason he got it is probably because he was on TV. That's it. Now, as I mentioned on the show previously, Hegseth isn't the only senior official that has been kept out of the loop on this potential war. You also have Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, you would have to have intelligence, right, in order to, you know, get the full picture of what a war could end up being and whether or not to even go to war. You would think that the Director of National Intelligence is somebody you would turn to verify, hey, do we actually have information that they're going to have a nuclear weapon? Or, you know, have any information about their technical capabilities, tactical capabilities? That would be the person to ask, right? Apparently not. No, not even talking to her. Not even talking to her. Jeez. Not good. Not good at all. Now, why is she being iced out? Well, apparently she put out a video on June 10th where she spoke out against political elite warmongers, which apparently Trump took it very personally. The video was said to have angered Trump, with him later confronting her in front of others at the White House by saying, quote, "I saw the video and I didn't like it," a source told the Post. Apparently, she is not in favor of attacking Iran. Well, maybe it's because likely Russia would be backing Iran, and then we would have to go up against Russia, and she's not exactly in favor. Whatever the reason, I don't really care at this point, because I just don't want a war in Iran. I don't want us to attack Iran. That would be a bad idea. And neither, by the way, do many Trump supporters. Look, I've talked about how we've got Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're all like, no war with Iran. Let's not do that. That's a bad idea. Steve Bannon said at a breakfast with the reporters hosted by the Christian Science Monitor said, we can't have another Iran. Iraq. We can't have another Iraq in Iran. Getting involved into another Middle East war, he added, would tear this country apart. And honestly, look, broken clocks, man. Broken clocks. I'll take it. I hardly agree with Tucker Carlson, you know, Steve Bannon, or any of these ghouls on most things. On this, though, I'm not agreeing with them. They're agreeing with us. Okay? We're not in favor of this war. And we're all agreeing with the vast majority of Americans who do not want this war. We do not want the war. The establishment, however, they do want a war. Fox News, they want the war. The defense contractor, well, of course the defense contractors want the war. They make a lot of money. But the American people don't. In fact, a recent Economist YouGov poll conducted over the weekend revealed that 53% of Trump voters, that's right, voters who backed Trump in the 2024 presidential election, do not want America to join in with Israel's war against Iran. How you got people like Representative Tim Burchett, again, someone that I hardly agree with ever. He told CNN that he wanted to see very little U.S. involvement in the conflict. I want to see none. I want to see none. He said, we don't need another endless war in the Middle East. Old men make decisions and young men die. And that's the history of war. We need to take a deep breath and slow down this thing and let the Israelis do their thing. We do not need a three-front war in our lifetime. I mean, look, when they're right, they're right. Okay, I have a lot of disagreements with these people. This ain't it. This ain't one of them. That's it. But like I said, at the end of the day, Trump doesn't seem to be listening to those people, to the anti-war crowd. But instead, they're listening to the people who are leading his dumb ass into making what could be the biggest foreign policy blunder of this century. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.